Bend the knee!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Don Willie coming at you with another video. This time I'm going to be discussing the political fallout from Season 5 of Game of Thrones. Now, this one will contain spoilers for the show only. I'm not going to be discussing anything from the books because the way that the books and the show have basically separated in terms of storyline, it wouldn't be relevant for me to discuss what's going on in the books. But if you have not watched all the way through the end of Season 5, make sure that you have done so before you watch this video, because this will be spoiler heavy. So, Season 5 is over. House Baratheon is pretty much extinct. Cersei, even though she is not fully in power, does have some power thanks to her being let back into the Red Keep, and she has her new champion, a reanimated version of the Mountain, which many people will know as Sir Robert Strong. Kevan Lannister is now the hand of the king for the Small Council, and the other members are Pycelle and Qyburn, right? You have Myrcella Baratheon, who was just murdered at the hands of Ellaria Sand and the Sand Snakes, possibly with Doran Martell being complicit in that act, but we're not exactly sure. You have the Boltons, which have just defeated Stannis and secured the North for themselves, but they have lost their most prized possession, and that is Sansa Stark. You have the Night's Watch, who has just murdered their Lord Commander, and a bunch of wildlings who are now south of the Wall, north of Winterfell, but still very close to the Wall itself, who were looking to Jon Snow as an ally. You have the White Walkers, who will at some point be marching south to the Wall, and who knows if they might know a way past the Wall, or if the Wall is able to stop them at all. You have the Tyrells, who are now in shambles, thanks to Cersei's dealings. So now you have Mace Tyrell, who should soon be on his way back from Braavos, securing funding for the Iron Bank in order to keep the crown afloat. And I'm not sure how long it will be before they find out about the fate of Stannis Baratheon. You have Melisandre, who is at the Wall. You have Davos, who is currently at the Wall. We still do not know the situation with Rickon. Still not sure about the situation with the Iron Islands and the Iron Islanders, who may still be roaming and reaving around the north. And then, across the Narrow Sea, you have the situation with Daenerys being missing from Meereen, and her new Small Council now ruling in her stead. So, let's look at the possible political fallout from all of this. So we're going to start with House Baratheon. So now that House Baratheon is pretty much out of play and off the map, two questions remain. Who is now in control of Dragonstone, because that was Stannis' stronghold, and who is now in control of Storm's End? Because, after the death of Renly, I guess it would be safe to say that control of Storm's End would fall to Stannis. But now with no Stannis around, who does Storm's End get annexed by? Will it be a war over Storm's End and Dragonstone? You have the situation with the Tyrells, where Tyrells have now been weakened substantially by the Lannisters, specifically Cersei Lannister, because you have Loras Tyrell, who is on trial. You have Margaery Tyrell, who's on trial. Olenna Tyrell, who wants revenge on Cersei. And Mace Tyrell, who has absolutely no idea that any of this has happened after he was sent to Braavos with Meryn Trant and some of the Lannister soldiers. And even the Lannister soldiers may not fully be aware of the situation in King's Landing. So, they may not have any plans to move on Mace Tyrell while he's in Braavos. But, when he returns, or if he even does return, what is going to happen in King's Landing and also in the Reach and the Stormlands? Because those are three areas which are very close together. They all border each other, in fact. So what's going to happen in terms of, are the Tyrells going to raise an army and possibly storm King's Landing, or possibly even the Stormlands? Because we don't know what lords are left, who was left in charge, where their allegiances lie. So this could possibly cause a three-region war for King's Landing itself. And Cersei obviously is going to want revenge on the Faith Militant and the High Sparrow for putting her on trial when she's the one that gave them power in the first place. But there's the other X factor that they have to worry about now, which is Dorne. Now, Marcella Baratheon now has been murdered by the Sand Snakes and Ellaria Sand. Now, we don't know whether or not the Lannisters are going to, figure Dorne complicit, and whether or not they're going to try to move on Dorne for this. Now, we know that Dorne has never been actually militarily conquered. So, what the political or military implications could be due to this action, we're not exactly sure. And, it's it's going to be all-out war within the Seven Kingdoms, and this, to me, would be even worse than what happened with the War of the Five Kings, because, you have the Riverlands, even though they are allied with the Lannisters, they're also allied with the Boltons, and Cersei, knowing that Ramsay was married to Sansa, is going to want to take some military action against the Boltons for that. Her armies will be spread pretty thin if that happens. We don't know if Kevin is going to allow that to happen, or if he's going to want to try to consolidate as much power in King's Landing as possible. But this also leaves Casterly Rock vulnerable. You have the Vale, which is still in play thanks to Peter Baelish, and we don't know what side he's going to take. He still, as far as we know, has absolutely no idea what has happened in Winterfell. So the fact that Sansa is missing, along with Theon, we don't know what Peter Baelish is going to wind up doing. He may set the armies of the Vale against the North, and he may try to get some of the other Northern Lords to side with him to destroy the Boltons. But, this is something we can't exactly be sure of. But one thing we can be sure of is the political implications and the fallout from all of this are going to rock the entire nation of Westeros, because without these houses being in some sort of stable power, it's going to have many people shifting allegiances and declaring war in places that we might not have gotten war prior to all of this happening. And also, again, in Essos, now we have Daenerys gone, right? And so eventually, people are going to figure out that Daenerys is not there. And with the Sons of the Harpy threat still looming, we have Tyrion, Varys, Missandei, and Grey Worm being the small council who are trying their best to keep things together. But, once the Sons of the Harpy figure out that they can kind of move on Daenerys, we're not sure exactly how all of that is going to play out. Because they may just say, well, hey, you know what? We don't have anything to fear. Daenerys took her dragon, flew away somewhere. She might be dead. So, we're just going to try to take over. Now, not only the Sons of the Harpy, but you might have Yunkai and Astapor, which might try to uprise and fill the power vacuum that was left in the wake of Daenerys' departure. So, and still no one is thinking about the White Walkers yet. So, moving back up north, Jon Snow was pretty much the liaison between Night's Watch and the Wildlings. The Night's Watch, even with the 3 castles that they have manned, do not have the manpower to stop any attack by the Wildlings. If the Wildlings decided that, they didn't like the fact that the Night's Watch killed Jon Snow, they could pretty much slaughter the entire Night's Watch and begin raiding in lower parts in the north and even further south in Essos. Now, there are a couple of people in this story who still know about Bran and Rickon, but we do not know exactly where Rickon is. We know Bran is north of the Wall in the Weirwood Tree, so he's not actually a factor right now, but Rickon could be a factor. But the only person right now who knows even that Rickon is alive, well, other than Sam, is Theon, and also Sansa, but they don't know exactly where they are right now. So until they can find out exactly where they are, Rickon is not exactly in play at the moment, unless whoever is holding him right now decides to bring him back to make the rounds and rally Northern Lords against the Boltons. So yeah, this is pretty much a very sticky situation. The kingdom, the 7 kingdoms altogether will be left in total shambles, and this may devolve into a much worse situation than any of them have anticipated, or could possibly anticipate. So, we'll see what happens season 6. Again, I'm not relying on stuff from the books. I'm only relying on things that have happened in the show thus far to try to dictate where we might go. Hopefully we get some sort of peaceful resolution, but given the fact that we have all of these different factions who will now be vying for power and also trying to get revenge on each other, I highly doubt that we're going to see anything less than a decimated Westeros and Slaver's Bay. So, leave me your comments, leave me your thoughts on this stuff. I'll be back with another video tomorrow. I'm trying to get these out as quickly as possible. I've been a little busy with some outside things, but, do not fear. For those of you who have sent me requests to do certain characters or even organizations, I will be getting to them very soon. All right? You already know the drill. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, come back for more. That's been my time. Don Willie, I'm out.